fucking 7 a.m.
on a holiday.
And then my dad looks at him. He goes, "Oh, you like drinking, right? You make mixed drinks. Why don't you make her a mixed drink when she comes over? I'll get you a martini shaker. And what ingredients do you need?"
So what? You went to like Target real quick or something?
Dude, I'm like, bro, what is she gonna do? Fucking walk through the door and my brother's with the martini shaker. Hey, how are you? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. I am your host, David So. Just checking my phone real quick. It was just buzzing off like a fucking weirdo. And we have Ed Park here, aka Ed Park VP.
What's up?
In the last podcast that you guys probably saw, which, you know, I don't even know what the comments are like right now, but I know people are mad at me. And guess what? I don't fucking care. I don't care no more. Never cared then, still don't fucking care now. Just a couple of thoughts, and guess what? You're allowed to disagree with me, and I appreciate it because you guys are being honest.
Everyone read it, and everyone had a thought. You just kind of said it into a microphone.
That's all.
Yeah.
You know, but I kind of like it when people, not that I'm searching for it or anything, right? But I like the idea that people can speak their mind, and then they should know that I'm okay with it as long as you have points to it, right? I don't think you're dumb for it. I think it's just different. You know, that's all that it is. I praise you. I think that you are great. I think Genius Brain listeners are some of my favorite people on earth. And when I get to meet fans who are Genius Brain listeners, they're always the best. They're so good. I'm like, damn, you guys are fucking dope.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to bring them on the podcast.
Or you might have an Attack on Titan situation, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
all these inside jokes. But
Hey, that's a previous episode. If you know, fucking Mr. Tiny Hands. Jesus Christ, man. Dude, sad story, which is, you know, by the time this comes out, I'm thinking it's already been like a month past. And, you know, on this podcast, sometimes I just don't care to talk about topics when it just comes out.
Yeah.
And usually when I do, I get all the information messed up anyways.
Yeah.
Because I'm only regurgitating the information that people who are, you know, basically like me, that are just saying stuff that they believe to be true at the time. And then later you find out that it's not true.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes too, you just want to process your thoughts a little more because you just have more stuff to say about it.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people just want you to talk about it right now. But like, hey, let me just think on it for a second. So about a month ago, Jason David Frank passed away, right?
Yeah.
For people who aren't in their 30s or maybe in their late 20s, you probably don't understand what impact he had on a lot of our lives.
He was my fucking hero.
Dude, Jason David Frank, if you don't know, was the original Green Ranger of the American Power Rangers. Fucking cool as shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
he came in as a bad guy and he was a bad boy and his eyes would glow green and he would creep on the Pink Ranger.
all the time, dude.
Yeah.
He was basically Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah.
He was just so fucking cool.
That was kind of genius of him to have his own identity in the way he did his hopkeys too, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden on the playground, everyone's doing his hopkeys.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It wasn't the Bruce Lee shit anymore. It wasn't like that. It was like that Tommy Hopkey. And like it was such a huge thing for us, like growing up. Yeah,
when I first read about the news, like I said, when the topic of suicide comes up, it always like freaks me out a little bit in the sense of it's really, really true when people say you don't know what somebody else is going through. You just fucking don't, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, from an outside perspective, I think prior to people talking about mental health, like the instant reaction is this person had so much to live for. If I was in their position, I would never, because there's so much things to be grateful for. But you can't tell people to be grateful for things that they don't see themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And who knows what he was actually going through. When I thought he died, I thought it was like from some type of accident or whatever.
Yeah, car accident, something.
And then I was thinking, wait, how old is he? Like, he's not.
He's in his later 40s. I think it was like 47 or something.
47 or maybe even early 50s, which is really fucking young, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Jason David Frank, if you guys don't know, and I was still following him for a while, not on Instagram, but just kind of following him here and there, just checking up on like my childhood heroes here and there. He actually did MMA.
Right. I've seen that.
Dude,
I've seen that clip.
He did MMA at like light heavyweight. He was like 205 pounds.
Yeah.
Fought this guy who wasn't that good himself. But either way, it doesn't matter. He was in a fucking cage and he was a pro fighter.
Yep.
And he fucking arm barred the shit out of this guy and beat him.
Yep.
It was amazing. Like
Yeah,
I'm watching.
he actually did it. You know?
We're watching this TV superhero actually do it in real life, which you don't fucking see.
Yeah, like
Pretty fucking cool.
a lot of us would have killed to see, like, I wonder how Bruce Lee would have done in the cage.
Yeah.
I wonder how Jackie Chan or Jet Li would have done, or Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
I'd love to see him in a cage for real. Yeah. But then our Power Ranger did it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's fucking dope.
So apparently he was going through a divorce with his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife was the one that found him dead, right?
I didn't read into it. So like I was up one morning and then just looked up the Twitter trendings, Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I clicked it and then it was like RIP, RIP, RIP. But when you keep scrolling, like early news was like it was suicide, but everything was such a rumor. But when I saw suicide, I put my phone away. Like I didn't want to read further into it. I think like I read into he was going through a divorce. But as far as from that, like I had to put it down. Like it broke my heart.
I mean, here's a quote from her. So my name is Tammy Frank and my husband was Jason David Frank, who tragically lost his life to suicide last week. While Jason was a well-known name to some, we lived a very normal life with ups and downs just like anyone else. It has shocked and saddened me beyond belief to see that the media has turned my family's tragedy into a tall tale. Since Jason's death, I have been harassed online and can no longer stand to watch my husband's good name be slandered. I love my husband and we were trying to work through our problems. His death comes as a shock to me as anyone else. The truth is, I had no idea that Jason was thinking of ending things. Yes, he had struggled with mental health issues and depression before, but I could never predict what would happen that night. It was meant to be a fun weekend getaway, and instead I lost the love of my life. Jason was a good man, but he was not without his demons. He was human, just like the rest of us. We initially planned to separate. That part is true. Oh, so they were on the verge of getting divorced. However, that is the only part of the story. The part that hasn't been told is that at the time of his passing, we had called off our separation and were in the process of reuniting. Don't get me wrong, we had ups and downs and many troubles during our 19-year-old marriage, but this was an especially hard year for us. A year ago, my daughter Shayla, whom Jason helped me raise as his own, suddenly passed away. Wow. Jason had been the one to find her when it happened, and the situation wrecked our family emotions. Between losing her and helping raise her baby son, Jason and I started having marital issues. For anyone who has known the pain of losing a child, I know you understand how such a loss changes things in your marriage. However, about 6 weeks ago, they decided to rekindle their romance after a close family friend helped us realize that we still loved each other. And yes, we shouldn't just give up yet. As part of their plan to reconnect, Jason planned a 2-night getaway in which the two attended a country dancing event, something Tammy says Jason knew he loved to do. We danced and stayed out at the event until the bar closed. When we got back to the hotel, Jason and I were having a heartfelt and emotional talk in his room. To help Jason relax and sober up before turning down to sleep, I went downstairs to get a snack from the lobby. I must have been gone no more than 10 minutes. I went back upstairs and began knocking on the door to no answer. I knocked repeatedly and kept calling for his name to open the door. Oh my God.
Oh, wow. She's not saying it all. Wow.
I don't know if the hotel staff or a guest called the police, but after I was taken downstairs by the police, they were able to open the door and found that Jason took his life. She continues, these were the disturbances that has been brought up numerous times online. All we want is to remember Jason. Oh, concluding her statement, Tammy asked that people stop making assumptions and leave my family to grieve peacefully. All we want is to remember Jason in our happiest memories and move on from the pain of losing a loved one. I only ask for sympathy and understanding during this difficult time. To all the fans and supporters of Jason and our family, thank you for your kind words, and we wish and God bless you all. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
I kind of heard about this. I didn't want to misquote it. That's why I just kind of read the whole thing, so you guys can kind of hear it if you're listening to this online. But so essentially, what happened was that they went on a couple's getaway to rekindle their failing marriage that they're trying to fix, and he decides to do it on their getaway. He commits suicide. He kills himself in the room, and she was trying to come into the door, and he locked it, and he killed himself.
Man,
that's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
How crazy is that shit?
That's wild. I mean, like, no more than 10 minutes and just getting snacks. Like, that's, yeah.
I mean, what was tragic. How did he do that? He hung himself? Or I don't know what he did, but he took his life in that bedroom and locked it so she couldn't come in. And this is after they just had a heartfelt talk and they opened up to each other. That means he was planning to do it.
Yeah. Jeez.
How fucking nuts is that?
You never know. You never know, like you said earlier, like what somebody is going through in their heads and such. But for a lot of people too, especially if you've had suicidal thoughts and such, like, it's important to know that there are people that love you and care for you. It's also important to know, like, but what about 5 years from now? Would you want to do it, kind of thing? It's also important to be aware, like, do you want to really hurt yourself and kill yourself? Or are you going through a tough time and you just don't want to exist anymore?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to commit suicide, but you feel like dying, you know? And that's a very deep thing to have to deal with a lot of people who struggle with these things. The tragic part being the fact that his wife was there with him. They were on a getaway. And it's like maybe there was just the point of no return kind of thing. Like when you say he planned it, where it was like, this is how he wanted it to go. Possibly.
You know what's interesting? So I was actually kind of shocked, but Bart and Gio, and I could talk about this because they talked about it openly too, but Bart and Gio talked about his dad. Did you see that?
I just saw the post the other day. It was like, I was late to it, and then I just saw it. I was like, oh my God, yeah, it was a shock to me too. Yeah. I mean, not that I knew them or anything, but yeah, it's tragic.
Yeah. And, I didn't listen to the podcast, so I'm not going to go into details. But so basically what happened was I was in Hawaii at the time, right? Mm-hmm. We were opening up Junbi, Waikiki. If you guys are in Hawaii, check that out. And I get a text from Bart, and Bart's like, hey, like something crazy happened in my life and I need to talk to you about it. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, hit me up. And just like in Bart's fucking fashion, this jackass was like, I'll hit you up later. And then he just leaves me on red for fucking like 10 hours. I'm over here like, what the fuck is it? Because I'm freaking the fuck out. Bart never says this type of shit. Yeah. I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, fucking Kezeki. This motherfucker would say something like, hey, this is some crazy shit that happened to me. I need to talk to you. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Why didn't you
just leave you hanging?
Why didn't you just message me when you could talk to me, you fucking dick?
He's just thinking about you.
Yeah. And so finally I was like, hey, are we going to talk? He goes, oh yeah. I'll call you like in an hour. So he tells me about what happens with his dad, right? His dad passed away. Yeah. Right. And we all know how he passed away, right? Mm-hmm. He committed suicide.
Yeah.
Which I was a little surprised that, he was so open about it, because I went into my headspace and I was thinking, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
I don't think I could tell people about that.
Yeah.
But everybody deals with their stuff differently. Like I'm not him and he's not me. And I don't know what their specific relationship was. For you guys too, you only get to see their relationship for what you see on online. So I'm not going to get into too many details about that type of stuff. But, when I thought about that shit too, like, afterwards we talked on the phone, I was in Hawaii, and, that shit still like trips me out, because this is a man I've met. Right. And if you see Bart's dad, or if you've ever had the opportunity to see him, it goes back to that thing of, you don't know what people go through, because he smiles a lot. He's always laughing and shit. Like, you don't know what the fuck he's thinking, but he's always smiling and laughing. And I could only think about like how, especially as an older Asian man, how fucking lonely that must have been for him. Yeah. How lonely is that, right? Especially because, and I'm pretty sure Bart has talked about kind of like what his dad did to even come into America.
Yeah.
It was a lot, right? So he's basically at the finish line. His dad's older. And then even then, through all the stuff, he still decided to take his life. So as a person from the outside, I'm just trying to like wrap my head around like, what the fuck was he going through that nobody could even sense this type of stuff?
Yeah.
His own son, his ex-wife, his daughter-in-law, like nobody fucking knew. And I didn't know. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
And then he still decided that life wasn't worth it, even when he's right at the finish line.
Yeah.
He has another like 10, 15 years maybe? And that wasn't enough to keep him alive, right? He has a grandson. He has a grandson that he's always wanted. And even then, that wasn't enough. So if you kind of look at their journey, and I was thinking the other night, it was like, damn, he moved to Vegas, right, originally. And then Bart bought him a house. Mm-hmm. And then he didn't like Vegas.
Yeah.
Left there, went back to LA, and then that's where he decided to take his life. So I'm thinking from my position and perspective of like trying to figure out what caused this. And, I'm never going to know, but it was like, maybe the signs were there that nobody really could see because we weren't looking hard enough. Because his son, very successful, he sees this relationship that he has with his grandson. He's like, this is a beautiful thing. Goes to Vegas. His son buys him a house. Everything is laid out for him. He's still not happy. He goes, I want to move back to LA. He goes back to LA. He's still not happy. There's nothing that's really satisfying him. And he's kind of at this, I think like too, when your job's done as a parent, your life goals are now complete. And now you're just kind of left with your own thoughts. Maybe it's like your regrets, things that you wanted, and the things that you want to do because you're older, you can't do anymore. So maybe he was left with that despair, and then nobody knew, and he didn't have anybody to talk to because he's an old Asian man.
Yeah.
How fucking crazy is that? How sad is that shit?
Yeah. I thought about that exact thing that you're saying right now when my dad passed. He passed in his sleep. It was like a major cardiac arrest kind of thing. But even still, looking back in the last years of his life, just the idea of loneliness struck me very hard. And the thought of how lonely he must have been was in my head for a long time. Because of, I sit here and like I tell these crazy fucking stories about where I grew up, where my store is, and the real thing that I looked out there about like how I was affected by it was also extreme loneliness, and for sure, yeah. The thought really broke my heart that the fact that my dad was a poor English speaker and didn't have friends, I believe, was so far away from any like real Korean community kind of thing. Yeah, that's why it became important for me to do the best I could to have a community and the idea of a community, make sure I had friends that had my back as well and such. But yeah, it's still like very confounding, like, and I don't think we'll ever understand why somebody would make these choices. For them.
And the weird thing too is like when I think about his father and you talk about your father, and I think about my dad, I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking embarrassing, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
I think of my dad sometimes and I'm like, some of these guys have like such tragic stories. I look at my dad, I'm like, you need to chill, bro. You fucking embarrassing. Because I went back to like I love my dad, but this kind of ties into what I'm talking about because my mom says about my dad too, where she goes, sometimes your dad to me, I look at him and he's like the saddest person on earth. And I'm like, why? I was like, because he wants to be so close to you, but he does everything he can to push you away.
Yeah.
So his version of what he does to keep us close does not do that. Like, for example, I'll give you this so, I went back for Thanksgiving, right? And my dad is somebody who loves us so much. He tries to help us in any way possible, no matter how fucking annoying and inappropriate it is.
Yeah.
Right. So back at home, there's these people that we grew up with, right? Grew up with in the sense that they're kind of like in the same neighborhood type of thing. And I didn't know these two kids there, right? It's these two girls because our age gap at the time, well, still now is like 4 years and like 6 years, right? Well, when you're younger, that's a huge age gap, right? So I'm a senior in high school. The other one's like in junior high. That was in elementary school. So I knew them as those girls that would hold each other's hands. They would be chilling on their driveway. And there's only a few Korean people in our neighborhood. So my parents get this bright idea. My dad, he goes, I'm going to hook up your brother with one of the girls there, right? Because now they're in the 30s.
Yeah.
And then without even asking my brother if he even cares to.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how fucking awkward my dad is, okay?
Okay.
So I'm like the medium in between all this other bullshit. And my dad, it's like, oh, we're all going to have dinner together because my parents got really close with their parents over pandemic.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, I want you to meet her. And then my brother's like, okay, I came here. I didn't get a haircut. I didn't bring any fucking clothes.
Yeah.
He goes, well, we just didn't want to like, set you up with anything. He goes, no, I didn't bring anything.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. And he goes, okay, fine. And so my dad, I shit you not, in the fucking morning, this is what he does. It's like 7 a.m. My dad just comes into my brother's room, turns on the lights, closes the door and walks out.
What?
And my brother's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Why'd you do that? He goes, oh, she's coming over today. Yeah, at 2 p.m.
My God.
It's fucking 7 a.m.
On a holiday.
And then my dad looks at him. He goes, "Oh, you like drinking, right? You make mixed drinks. Why don't you make her a mixed drink when she comes over? I'll get you a martini shaker. And what ingredients do you need?"
So what? You went to like Target real quick or something?
Dude, I'm like, bro, what is she gonna do? Fucking walk through the door and my brother's with the martini shaker. Hey, how are you?
Let's party.
Let's party. You look like you're a martini girl. Like, what the fuck? Dude, why are you so... And my brother's getting pissed. He goes, what is the logic behind this?
Yeah.
Why the fuck? I'm just going to walk up to her. You like mixed drinks? What are you talking about? And then my dad goes, you should take care of your skin. Here, you want me to massage your face to you?
What?
Massage your face today?
What? It's like, has he ever?
So I looked at my dad. I was like, dude, you're making this worse.
Yeah.
Number one, you didn't even tell him about her. Number two, massage his face? Oh, you're an esthetician now?
What? Was he going to be there when they were meeting?
So I was like, hey, when have you used lotion? Ever? What do you know about lotion? He goes, I'll massage his face for him. I'm like, with those fucking sandpaper hands of yours, you're going to rip his fucking face to shreds. Don't touch him.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like taking my parents aside. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're making this 10 times. First of all, you're acting as if they're married.
Yeah.
You don't even know if they fucking like each other. They've never met each other. They haven't even met her.
What the fuck?
It's
gonna be so weird.
This is my fucking father, dude.
Yeah.
And so we're all having dinner together and we're talking or whatever. And by the way, she's super cool. My brother's super cool. It's all a good time. And then before we're about to leave, he goes, let's all take a fucking picture together. I'm like, why? Jesus Christ, Christmas of everything that's good and holy. Why are you doing this? As we're about to take the photo, right? Guess what my mom does?
What?
She starts pushing the girl into my brother.
Oh my God.
And then I'm just like, please stop doing this. Could you imagine how fucking embarrassing?
This is like the Hail Mary right now.
Yes.
The night's almost over.
My mom's like, go ahead, just stand next to him. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Like, hey, why don't you get him some condoms too?
Dude, this one is just so thin. You never peel anything.
Yeah, he's the lamest.
Dude, and then, okay, so she leaves, right? And already I'm irritated for him, but my brother's taking it pretty well at this point. But I know my brother holds things in and then he explodes later. I'm not like that. I address things on the spot. And so my brother's in the room and my dad comes up. He starts shaking his hand. He goes, congratulations. It's like, for what?
What the fuck? Congratulations.
For what are you congratulating him for? Yeah. 축하해. Nothing happened.
What? Yeah. For what?
This is my father.
Yeah.
The most embarrassing man on earth. And I just looked at him so my mom had to go talk to him because I had to talk to my mom because she was doing too much too. But my mom's a lot more reasonable. So, in Korean, I'm telling her, I was like, imagine how you're making your older son feel right now. I was like, you're treating him as if, number one, I was like, you don't even know. What if she doesn't like him? How awkward is that?
Yeah.
You guys are family friends. And then we meet up now during the holidays. You don't even know if she goes, why wouldn't she like him? Listen, I know you love your son, but he's not fucking perfect. Okay. Yeah. Like you don't even know if he likes her. Then how awkward for them.
Yeah, man. This is like such a nightmare, like fucking conversation or like situation I have to go through.
Dude, witnessing it was hard for me, dude.
Yeah.
Because I'm always going to be on my brother's side, So I'm looking at my mom. I was like, he goes, well, your brother's not complaining. I was like, how many times have you told me that you get mad at our brother because he just snaps out of nowhere? He goes, he doesn't snap out of nowhere. He's very patient with both of you. He's so calm and he takes all of your fucking shit until he just goes boom and explodes. Then you gaslight him and you go, look at this temper.
Yeah.
As you just dragged him through this field of knives of embarrassment as he's getting shredded up.
Yeah.
And then you go, why are you acting like this?
That was your problem.
Yeah.
No way 그래. Like, why are you being like this?
Just fucking gaslighting his ass.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling him, I'm watching him and he's on the cusp of fucking flipping out. Like, you need to stop. Don't message him. Don't say fucking anything.
Yeah.
Of course, what happens? I leave. I'm next to my brother. Guess what? He gets a phone call.
Yeah.
And I call my mom. What did I fucking just say? She goes, what? I was like, I'm next to him right now. And she goes, oh. She hangs up. She fucking hangs up on me.
It's on speakerphone or something. Oh my gosh.
Dude.
But yeah, I mean, like they don't realize the kind of shit they do to push you away too. It's like, man, like this is becoming an obligation, you know?
It's like, and even if they did like each other, let's say they eventually, I don't know, start dating, right? And they like each other, right?
Yeah.
They will, I told my mom too, like I think a lot of Asian parents or Asian kids kind of feel this way. It's like, when you treat your children this way, you allow for a very unhealthy relationship to happen where they're going to start lying to you. Because they can't be honest with you because of how you behave.
Yeah.
What they say, you're very dismissive of. You do things in the way that you want it, and it's because of and you think it's for your motives, right? It's like, oh, and they were telling me, oh, it's because I want him to find a girl and get married. He's gonna get married. He dates all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, you're lying to us right now. You're looking for the girl that you like. Not that's good for him, a girl that you like, and that's very selfish.
Yeah. And
I told him too, I was like, here's the weird thing about you guys. It's like I said, a lot of Asian kids probably feel this way. It's just they kind of do things in the way where, like we said, you do everything to push us away, even though you're trying to keep us really, really close.
Yeah.
And by you trying to hold on to us this tight, it creates this fucking rift between us.
Yeah.
And it causes your kids to end up lying to you about things because they can't be honest. Because even if when they are honest, you're very dismissive of everything that they say. Mom, I feel uncomfortable because you did that. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
This is what happened today. What did you do? This is the rhetoric that happens between Asian kids and their parents.
This would happen.
Exactly.
You 병신 같은 놈, you would do this.
Yeah. Why do you lie to me all the time? Because you create an environment where they feel they have to lie to salvage your relationship. They feel that in order for us to like have a relationship with them, that we have to lie now. Because if we don't lie, we're going to argue, we're going to fight, because I already know the moment I say something, you're going to be like, ugh, whatever.
You know, like I came from a place with a very honest relationship with my mom, right? But it came to a point too where now I am like at the, life is better when I just lie.
Yeah.
And I used to hate that about, like, just as a character trait, mom, like lying or liars or whatever. So I was a very honest person to like a fault, and at one point, this like towards the last month of me being in Washington State at my gas station in the middle of fucking nowhere, hating this life, and I'm just talking about like, how am I supposed to stay here and run this gas station? How am I supposed to do anything? How am I supposed to make friends? How am I supposed to do shit out here, right? And then I was like, how am I supposed to get married? And then I was like, are you going to call some Korean girl from Korea, from some family friend to come get married to me so she can get her green card? And then my mom looked at me like, oh,
yeah.
Oh shit. I was like, you're really planning this? And then like, she was like, yeah, what's the problem?
Oh my God.
Like everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it? What are you talking about?
She's like, you found me out.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm out of here. That was like one of the things.
I was like, Mom, I don't speak Korean that well, right? Like, what the fuck? How will we even talk? Well, how are we going to... Yeah, 너 이거 하고 싶어? 너 이거 하고 싶어, 이거?
No, so I'm like, dude, like I came to a point too, man, like I said, with the honesty, right? Just like to preface right now, like I had this major existential crisis with my faith, and my mom is such a hardcore Christian, and her pride in me was the fact that I did ministry, like, and that I was like a missionary and all that stuff. Like that was why she was so proud of me. That's how religious my mom is.
Yeah.
And then I was just calling her out. Like, I was like, I don't know if I'm a Christian. I don't even think you're a Christian, kind of thing. And once I said something like, I don't even know if God is real, right? Because I was in an agnostic camp, which I am, now. And she fucking lost it.
Yeah.
She flipped her fucking mind. And she had a laptop on her lap at that moment. She just slammed it shut and just fucking tossed it on the ground. Boom, just freaked out and had to lay down because of some like stress attack.
Yeah.
And her thought literally the whole time is like, my son's going to hell.
Yeah.
And so after seeing that shit, to be real and like be honest or whatever, I was like, I'm gonna lie. Like, and so after a time, so now that I'm back in LA, right? I'm like, oh yeah, you know,
You go to church? Of course.
Yeah, I talk Bible. When I'm saying I meet up with my friends and I come to this podcast, right? It's like, yeah, we talked about the Bible. We did Bible study.
It's kind of true.
Yeah, I just have to like say that shit now, you know?
Well, I mean,
And it makes her happy. It makes her really happy.
Because at this point, it's like, why stress her out?
Yeah.
You know, like, what does it do? So like, that's like sometimes with my brother, because my mom advises my brother that way. He goes, just say yes, just agree. But the problem with that too is that when you kind of like feed into that with, I don't think in your case, I think you're doing it right. But like, you know, for stuff like with my dad over here trying to make him into a bartender.
Yeah. That'll get the ladies.
Yeah. That I was like, dude, you're a dweeb. Shut up. Shut it. Like, just, my dad's Michael Scott, dude.
Yeah. That's
my dad's fucking Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Date Mike. That's my dad.
the Kango.
Yeah, with a Kango hat. I'm Date Mike. Give me this cherry stem. And he starts to like nod it with his mouth. I'm like, I don't think my dad has dated anybody outside of my mom. And my mom was the woman that chased after him, so he didn't have to do anything. So he actually doesn't know how to interact with the opposite sex. He has no fucking clue. Yeah. That's why he has no dating advice. He has nothing. But so in his mind, he thinks he knows how to do it. So he's like, yeah, when she walks in, make her this martini. Shut up. Shut up.
Oh my God.
Be quiet and shut up. This is my father, dude.
Yeah.
The most awkward man on he is Michael Scott from The Office, dude. And I had no clue until this fucking past Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man.
Shattered my image of him.
It's like, it happens to almost everybody growing up. Oh shit, my dad's not as cool as I thought he was.
Yeah, fucking dweeb. You know, great father, loving man, checks all the stuff that's important. But in terms of being like a cool dude, absolutely not, man.
I don't know. It's like, I guess because our parents like never grew up with the internet, they have just no clue what is appropriate or inappropriate. Yeah. And speaking of old Korean men that don't know what's appropriate or inappropriate. Dude. Great segue, eh?
I completely forgot about that, dude. Okay, we got to talk about this. Dude, one of my favorite people from one of the best Netflix series of all time, Squid Game, the grandpa.
He's got me too.
He got me too by somebody who apparently he inappropriately held this girl's hand.
Not just that, indicted.
Yeah.
Indicted by the police for sexual misconduct. But what he says is claiming that they walked around a lake and he held her hand.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little more to that story. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know who to believe, but I don't know why you holding this young girl's hand, bro. How old was the girl? Do we know?
I have no clue.
Let's look that up.
Look that up because he's like 82 or something.
He's old, dude. Yeah. Squid Game pervert is what. Shit. Dude, one of the funniest comments I read was like, dude, is like, how can you blame him? He thought he heard green light. I didn't make that joke. That was online. Listen, hey, no matter how old you get, you a pervert, you a pervert.
Yeah, and who wants to see him in season 2 anyway? He died.
I used to get so mad when people like look at old people and they go, "Oh my God, look how sweet they are." You don't know them.
Yeah.
You don't know them. And then he takes off his Kangol hat. There's a SWAT stick on the back. He's still sweet now?
Yeah.
He's just a fucking old asshole now.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm not saying you should go around and beat their asses, but I'm saying like the idea that you think that old people are just sweet just because doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Sometimes that's ages. I don't see age. That's a bad thing to say.
I used to hate that phrase too, where it's like, I don't see color. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. You're like, it's such a big problem to be colorblind than acknowledge. And I think you said it in an earlier podcast to celebrate color,
Yeah, like,
celebrate diversity.
I don't see color. Yes, you do, because if you didn't see color, you wouldn't be bringing this up.
Yeah.
You clearly see color. There's no problem with it. It's not like seeing color is the problem. It's how you behave around it is the issue.
Yeah.
The fuck are you talking about, you weirdo?
And then like there was a time when like a lot of white people would say that as a virtue signal thing.
Yeah.
Like it happened in college once, this guy talking about how he grew up with this friend and it was his best friend in the whole world. And then maybe not until last year, I just realized he was black. And then everyone in the class just like rolled their eyes like, holy fucking shit, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Die.
Yeah, it's like, what was that story? Expected everyone to just slow clap. But yeah.
Cool story, bro.
So many of that kind of instance where people think like that discounting somebody's color is the most humane thing to do.
Yeah. It's like, it's
like, no, that's because you see in a lens where normal is just you and everything you talk about normally is you. You know what? I forgot my I have a story about Jason David Frank.
Oh,
too.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was in 4th grade, we were just a couple years living in Washington, and then we came down to LA like every summer to vacation with my uncle and cousins and just all of my family down here in LA. And then we were at one of the parks up in the valley, and there was this huge film crew, right? And this is my first experience with seeing the real behind the scenes, what I'm watching behind the scenes. And I'm like 4th grade, so I'm like 9 years old or something.
Was this shot in Seattle?
No, this is in California. I was visiting LA, yeah. So it was up like near Sherman Oaks, a Balboa Park.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next thing I know, I see fucking Bulk and Skull walking down by right where I'm standing. And I go, oh my God, Bulk and Skull. And so, I mean, so maybe Tarantino's right about the movie stars.
Yeah.
I knew that it was Bulk and Skull. I was like, can I have your autograph? He's like, sure. Do you have a pen? I was like, no. He's like, do you have a paper? I was like, no. And I was like, why do you want an autograph? I'm like,
he goes, what am I supposed to autograph with?
So Skull, you know how he's always chewing gum?
Uh-huh.
He's like, here, have this. And he gave me a stick of his gum that he always has gum on him to chew while he's filming. And I'm like, what are you guys doing here? What's going on? And he said, we can't tell you. We can't tell you, right? And so all of a sudden, all the kids in the park started running around, like looking for crew members, asking, like, so why is Bulk and Skull here? Are you guys Power Rangers crew? Like, are you guys filming Power Rangers and whatever? And they kept saying, we can't tell you. We can't tell you, with a smile on their face. So we're just chilling, whatever. And we knew something big is happening, right? Then I fucking see him. It's fucking Jason David Frank. And now this is the thing about, if you remember the first iteration of the Power Rangers, Tommy was the Green Ranger first, and he was the bad guy, right? And then he turned good, but then he went away for a while, right? And all of a sudden, this new White Ranger shows up, but nobody knows who he is, and he's fucking kicking ass, and he's always saving the Power Rangers from trouble. And the advertising at the time is, who is the White Ranger? Who is the White Ranger? Right? And I fucking see Tommy. I see Jason David Frank, and he's wearing all white. And all the kids are like, ah, it's Tommy! Tommy's back! Tommy's back. That's in the Power Rangers. Right? And then we all got a chance to run up to him and just say our highs and whatever. Obviously couldn't get his autograph, and I was like, oh my gosh, like my whole life was just like Power Rangers at that moment in my life. And I go back up to Washington, come up to school, everyone's talking about it, right? Who's the new White Ranger? And I'm telling everyone, it's Tommy. Tommy's coming back. I saw it. It's Tommy. And then all the kids wouldn't believe me. And it was such a big cultural thing, I guess, for Power Rangers, because even the older kids, the 5th and 6th graders who called us babies because we would like Power Rangers, they were talking about, yo, who do you think the White Ranger is? And I tell the older guys, and they think that I was just a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Then it comes out, it's fucking Tommy is the White Ranger on TV. And I was like, I can't believe I fucking witnessed that.
Yeah.
I can't believe, like, I knew it before everyone else. And that could have been one of those things where I was super interested in the behind the scenes. That was my very first life experience with seeing production happen behind, on set. And it was for my favorite TV show in life. And it just happened to be going on the day I was just visiting my family.
Did you ever go back to them and be like, what I fucking say, you fuckers?
I wish I could know.
Fuck all of you.
No, they were like, no, you did it. No, you did. And it's one of those kids are like that.
Yeah.
Shit. But I told you Tommy was coming back. And
they're like, no, that's not what you said.
Yeah, exactly. It was all of that, and nobody fucking believed me. But if I go try my like other friends, like, oh, Tommy's like church friends, right? I found that Tommy's the White Ranger. They're like, what are you, gay? Why do you like Power Rangers kind of stuff? They thought I was a baby. I'm like, oh, it's different. Like,
that's so funny.
I had nobody to celebrate it with. And I'm just now telling this story now.
Dude, but I feel like 3rd, 4th grade, you're supposed to like Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's what I assumed too. But man, there was a lot of scrutiny. Like, because I remember me and another kid, like, I think we were doing shit with like 1st grade class, like Big Brother kind of thing or whatever. And these kids were playing with these Power Rangers action figures. And me and this other dude were like, oh man, that's so cool. Yeah. That's so dope.
I remember
I
had
to be secretive about it.
I had the white tiger, the Zord.
The Zord? Yeah,
I had that shit.
Wanted that. We were too poor to get it.
And then I had the flute, the Green Ranger flute thing.
I
fucked up all those toys because I played with it so much. Like, dude, I played with my toys, dude.
My brother later in life got the original Megazord, the entire thing. Apparently that shit is worth like a lot now, like the OG Megazord.
Oh, all those like vintage toys, if it's like untouched, is worth a shit ton, dude.
I mean, like, this is what Jason David Frank meant to me and us, like, and what Power Rangers was for us as we were like kids growing up.
That fool definitely slayed a lot of pussy.
100%.
He was
everybody wanted
fucking good looking guy, dude.
Yeah,
that fool was just fucking slaying puss.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace.
You know, Power Rangers too. I don't think they have like the same effect like they did
today,
with us.
Nah.
Like Power Rangers were amazing. Like when the movie came out, remember the movie?
Oh my god, just
how fucking amazing!
Earth shattering. Yeah,
it was Thanos, the original one.
Ivan Ooze. Yeah,
it was Thanos.
Dude, have you went back and like watched it again?
No, it's been a long time.
Holy shit, the CGI at that day and age,
bad.
It was so bad. But oh man, that was one of the very first few movies we had on VHS. I watched the shit out of that.
I just remember the fighting was so much better in the movie than it was in the TV show.
Yeah.
Like the fight choreography was fucking good. And the cable shit that they were using to get them to jump was amazing.
And then they became the Ninja Zords and all that shit. Yeah.
It's pretty funny, like when you look at how many different iterations of Power Rangers that they have. And we know a couple Power Rangers, Yoshi and them, right? But like the effect that Power Rangers had on our generation was completely different. Everybody wanted the toys. Everybody was talking about it. And I just heard
it was like Pokemon before Pokemon, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like one of those waves that came in.
Who's the owner? Saban?
Saban, yeah.
I heard that guy's a fucking dick.
Yeah, I've only read about like how
I've heard terrible things about that fool.
He just exploits a lot of young actors to become.
Yeah, I heard he doesn't pay them shit. They don't get any money for any of the action figures. They own all the likeness to everything.
All of that.
He's like a bajillionaire. It's like, you don't even need the money anymore.
Yeah.
You piece of shit. Like, what's wrong with these people, man?
Just exploitative. This LA, baby.
Yeah, I mean, for him too, it's like, how much money do you need?
Yeah.
Like in that kind of case too. Also, I have a small little bone to pick with Elon Musk. 8 billion people in the world. You spent 44 billion on this. You couldn't have. I could use $1 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy to think.
Just think about that.
I never actually did the math on that.
Well, he bought Twitter for 44 billion.
Yeah, 44. Like that's in itself, that is a number I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
It sounds so inflated to me. There's no fucking way. It's a wonder, like how much more do you need?
Yeah.
You know, and he's truly proven like what fuck you money means. Where it just doesn't seem to matter to him. It's like a dent in his pocket for Twitter.
That's fucking crazy how much money that individual has. How nuts is that type of shit? Like, the idea that somebody owns that type of wealth blows my fucking mind.
I mean, there's Yeah, and at the same time too, it's kind of hard to hear him like really complain about taxes and shit too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it wouldn't even hurt you.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt you, and then we'd have some good highways here in LA.
Hey, hurry up and make that fucking train you said you were going to make, you jackass.
Apparently, that's all a big scam too. So he created that Hyperloop thing,
Yeah.
so that he could kill the rail system in California State. Because California was trying to create a high-speed rail from San Francisco to LA.
Yeah.
So it would take like 2 hours maybe for a one-way trip. And Elon Musk basically created and spent millions upon millions, if not $1 billion, like on this Hyperloop thing and underground stuff. Just to kill, you want to kill trains, right? Because they don't use gas either. They are clean energy transportation, and it carries massive amounts of people. But this guy sells electric cars. It's a classic move in the automotive industry.
That's the case. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he did that because, like, look at how LA is built. We don't have a good subway system, right? Or public transportation. That's because Goodyear and all of their influence in the 1920s and shit, they lobbied and like bribed the whole city so they didn't build a subway here.
Yeah.
That's why LA is built the way it is. It runs on car transportation. Just so like, because Goodyear doesn't care what car you buy as long as you buy tires. And you need 4 of them for one car.
It's the most inefficient thing I've ever seen in my life. And like, listen, if you guys ever happen to go to Japan, Korea, Taiwan, or any place that has like a great subway system, and don't you dare fucking say New York, because it's not New York. New York's subway system is disgusting.
It's gross.
It's fucking disgusting.
It's scary too.
Exactly. Like,
I mean, it literally, you expect a Ninja Turtle to come out of the fucking ground.
It's fucking disgusting. And people are like, oh, just take the subway in New York. No, I'm okay. Yeah. I don't want to.
There's a bit of a charm where it's like, oh man, this shit is so old and whatever. But then it's like, yeah, this shit is so old, it's gross.
Yeah. Like when you see how efficient the public transportation system is in Korea, I understand why people don't need a car. You know, like the bus system is so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good. And people respect the things that they have out there. Like America is such a weird country. Like for a bunch of people who, you know, supposedly has a lot of pride in this country, you sure as hell treat the shit that we have here like shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of litter.
Yeah.
For the greatest country in the history of mankind.
Yeah. Like it's like a lot of like lip service. Yeah. You know, like when I see people just throw trash on the floor, like, wait, don't you care about this country? I thought you cared about this country. So shouldn't you treat it a little better?
Yeah, the little things like littering. Yeah, for sure. It's just like, damn, bro.
It's such I'll never understand. Like if we had a great transportation system here, it would fix so many problems. I would love it. I hate driving.
Yeah.
I fucking hate driving. If I could just hop onto a train and like, okay, it'll take me there in like 20 or 30 minutes on a clean seat without shit on it.
Yeah.
You don't think I would take that?
It's amazing how we don't have bullet trains and we have so much flat land. I mean, like we could like go anywhere. The technology that's out.
We don't even have like a dope busing system, dude.
Nope.
Like trying to find like an overnight bus to like say from here to like, I don't know, San Francisco, right? It's like this it's shit.
Greyhound.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fucking shit.
Be careful.
I fucking hate it, dude. Like I would prefer if we could just have a dope, like 2 hours to get into a train to go all the way to like Sacramento.
Yeah.
I would fucking love it.
Yeah.
The only problem is like the biggest issue that we would have with that is kind of like the homeless situation.
Yeah.
They opened up a train stop off near my parents' house back at home. Mm-hmm. Our homeless situation now in our neighborhood is really bad. Because they went from the other spots and now they travel all over here. Now there's tents everywhere.
Right.
So I don't know how to solve that shit.
Yeah, it's like it's a cycle and such. Like I had to take, so I had gotten in a car accident a couple months ago and I had to take the LA Metro. Wasn't that bad. Was not that bad. Although yes, I did run into one mentally ill person who was screaming crazy shit. It was, now I'm taking back that it was not that bad statement, but it was tolerable.
Dude, I had that shit happen to me in Sacramento, which my friends were telling me like the mentally ill homeless situation is kind of crazy out in Sacramento now. Literally just walking by. I'm dressed up, about to go to a wedding. I stopped by a coffee place. Some dude looks at me. He just goes, "Yeah, you ain't the one, bitch."
What the fuck?
And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He was like, "You, yeah, you ain't the one, bitch." And talking to me, I'm like, "Hey, bro, you just called me a bitch?" He goes, "Yeah, You ain't the fucking one. I'm like, I don't even know if I should be mad.
Yeah, am I supposed to fight Jet Li right now? Like, what?
He goes, keep walking. You ain't him. You ain't him. I'm like,
what is
okay,
this?
I'm just going to keep walking.
Yeah. What the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck that shit was about. I don't know.
Just some wild people like yelling at you and shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like there's all these like things I want to have solutions for, but like when people talk to me about the homeless thing, I'm like, I don't know, because they're people too. You just pick them up and just toss them aside. You can't do that. They're human beings.
Yeah.
So
it's
what's the solution?
Like the most fascist idea would create like a homeless penal colony, and then like make sure everything is taken care of for them, but then they would be exploited and such. And then what is the other side? Just give them a house.
Yeah.
The idea of like, or like converting old abandoned hotels like the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah, Hotel Cecil.
Turning that, just letting homeless people live there. So like then what? It becomes like a crazy project housing, like where it's just a cesspool of like unregulated and like do whatever you want kind of building.
Yeah, and there's also that idea too of like people get upset because they work hard to make sure that they have food in their stomachs and a roof over their head. But then I was like, why would I do that if I could just be homeless? And then I just get food in my stomach and a roof over my head.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do that instead?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I wonder what the solution for that is, because a lot of people talk about it and I just don't have anything.
I just, it's so complicated that neither do I. It's like you can say UBI. You could probably just, the idea, like I said, the other whole crazy other aspect of it being just make homelessness illegal, And there's another thing. The fucking Olympics are coming to LA 2028.
Oh, what the fuck is going to happen with
and
that?
the World Cup 2026. What are they going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah, we're going to put all the homeless.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, you could leave them there and say, this is what LA is about. Like, this is part of LA, because that's exactly what's happening right now. But every time there's an Olympic or world event, they want to hide them. They want to shoo them away. I mean, and right now, as of this moment, 2026, 4 years from now, they got to clean up for the World Cup.
Damn, I didn't even think about that shit.
Yeah.
Well, if it was China, they would just throw them away somewhere.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're not that. We actually care about people.
That, yeah. So it's complicated. And hopefully that's why, people vote for whoever we believe will figure that shit out. And then you just, peace of mind, go back to the rest of your life.
Trump's going to be president.
Yeah.
We got to do something about the homeless.
We got to do something. My Trump is fucking terrible. I can't even fucking try.
I walked in and I was like, wow, there's a lot of homeless. Just walking, there's homeless people everywhere.
Terrible.
Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. You can catch Ed at Ed Park VP or Bible study at Momo's, where he's telling his mom that he's going to Bible study.
Yep.
to save their relationship.
Yep.
And then Genius Brain every Sundays at 12 p.m. We'll see you all next time.
Peace.